So let's talk about the most important law of the deep game for your basketball success, which is the law of mastery. Okay. The law of mastery states, as you probably know by now, that the game rewards the player who needs no reward other than the game itself. In other words, we play for the love of the game itself, not what the game might give to you, whether that's social status or college scholarships or pro contracts or money or fame or girls or any of that stuff, status over other people, dominance over other people, proving other people wrong. All of that stuff is irrelevant to the love of playing the game itself. So this is, as I said, in my opinion anyway, the most important law of the deep game for your long-term basketball success. And yet it's possibly the most misunderstood law. Actually, there's a key misunderstanding here about what it really means to play for the love of the game. And we're going to talk this out right now. I think this is going to bring a really big and significant epiphany for you. And I'm going to share something a little bit personal for you. Okay. So the personal story that I'm going to share, and I haven't shared this before, is that back in the fall of 2016, for the first time in my life, I fell in love. I fell in love with somebody. And when I fell in love with somebody, I'm not going to name her name or anything like that. We'll keep her private. I'm no longer with this person. But at that time, I realized, as soon as I fully fell in love, I realized I had never loved anybody before. I'd had significant relationships in my life, but they weren't real love. They weren't real love. I really liked these people. I thought I loved them at the time. Maybe they were attractive or fun or had, really charming personalities in different cases. And just there was a variety of things that I really, really liked about those people, and even liked them enough to think that I loved them. I didn't love them. And it wasn't until I finally actually fell in love that I realized what love actually is. Okay. Love, true love, is unconditional. Okay. It's unconditional. And I'll share a story with you to illustrate this point, okay? So this person that I was in love with, inevitably, as couples do, we got in a fight. And during this fight, I got really, really upset. And I remember saying to her, I was looking at her saying, like, I am really upset with you right now. I am really upset. And I paused and I thought for a moment and I said, you know what? I'm really upset with you, but I love you more than I am upset. I love you more than I am upset. And in that moment, the fight kind of dissolved and we kind of came back to neutral and reconnected on that level of love, okay? Now, that's a really key distinction here, because what you'll realize is that love does not always mean liking, okay? In that moment, I didn't like her all that much. I was really upset, but the love was still there. And so the act of loving something unconditionally, whether it's a person or the game of basketball, doesn't mean that you have to like it all the time, okay? And one of our players in Deep Game, his name's Austin, he's a college player, said this really well, okay? So I'm going to share his post in the forum. Shout out to Austin. I'm going to share his post in the forum. So a player was struggling with this and saying, I learned law number 7 and the love of the game, but I'm not quite there yet. Does anybody have any tips? And Austin said, it's a skill to be able to still work hard and be committed when you're not feeling the love. It's a requirement to play college basketball. And again, Austin's a college player. A non-game day is a lift, film, practice, and study tables. That's going to be around 5 hours. A game day is film, scout, practice, and the game. For home games, that's going to be 8 hours. For road games, most of our road trips are 2 to 3 hours, so that's going to be a 12-hour day. And that doesn't include any training on your own. We've had like 5 days off this semester. I do not feel the love all the time, clearly. Getting used to playing without the love, that's what college and pro basketball is about. Okay? So those are some wise words from a high-level player. Actually, like his team is doing really, really well right now. So again, shout out to Austin. So I'm going to clarify this a little bit more, okay? So unconditional love. Unconditional love, if you really unconditionally love the game of basketball, it means love without conditions. what most players experience in their relationship to basketball is that they really like it when they're doing well. They really like it when people are congratulating them on how they're playing. They really like it when they're dominating. They really like it when they are at their best. And then when things go sideways and they're maybe not at their best, or they have 6 a.m. practice that's really difficult, or their coach is getting on their case, or a teammate is like talking trash to them, or maybe somebody else from the other team is talking down. And all of these things that happen to all of us as basketball players, okay? These are facts of life, just like in a relationship. Even when you love somebody, like truly, truly love somebody, you're still going to fight with them. There's still going to be this stuff that you got to deal with in basketball, okay? And loving the game does not mean liking every single experience that you have. And even players like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, they are well documented over their career to have moments and stretches of time where they just couldn't quite feel that love of the game, even though it's an undercurrent all the time. The love is always there, no matter how much you like the situation that you're in, the love is there. And so the secret to unconditional love, to true love, is to love it even when you don't like it. In other words, as I said to my partner at the time, I'm really upset with you. I don't like you a whole lot right now, but I love you more than I'm upset, okay? That's the spirit in which we approach this game if you're committed to the law of mastery. Again, the game rewards the player who needs no reward other than the game itself. We play for the purity and the love of the game itself, not the rewards that the game might give you. Those things are like the cherry on top of the sundae. They're not the sundae itself, all right? If you're playing for those rewards specifically, it's not worth it. Do something else. I'm going to tell you that very, very clearly. And most likely, not many people will say that. Like players say, you know, but I want to play basketball so that I can get a scholarship and not have to pay for school. Well, that's a really hard route to go. You could actually just study really hard and get an academic scholarship. That's probably easier, okay? If you're in the game of basketball to make a career out of this, to make money someday, playing professionally, if you think that's like your only career path that's open to you, money is relatively easy, actually, especially in today's day and age. There's a lot of options you have available to you. Playing professional basketball is a hard one, all right? So only if you fully and unconditionally love the game of basketball should you be pursuing that, okay? Otherwise, find what you really love. Find what you really love. And I will challenge you that if you are watching and listening to these talks, doing this deep game work, that unconditional love is there. It's inside of you, but it's getting clouded with these experiences that you don't like so much. And that's completely understandable. I am with you. There are so many days I look back on that I did not like in my career. But throughout that whole time, that undercurrent of love kept me going. Okay, the undercurrent of love kept me going. So I'm going to offer a little bit of advice and maybe just a fun exercise for you to do to reconnect to that undercurrent of love. If maybe you're not liking the game so much, or maybe you're even liking it, but the like is not love. Those are two different things, as we've been saying. To reconnect to like the purity, the reason you started playing the game in the first place, I'm going to offer you a really simple exercise you can do. Go to the court one day, outdoor, indoor, doesn't matter, but somewhere empty where you can be on your own. Go to the court with no plan at all. No training plan, no schedule, no goal in mind, no objective. Just go, you and a basketball, and do whatever you feel like doing. Shoot around, dribble, like you don't have to do drills or workouts or any of that stuff. Just play. Play. Notice all the little details of the game that helped you to fall in love with them in the beginning, right? The feeling of the ball in your hands, the sound of the ball when it rips through the mesh. Maybe it's like chain link. I used to love that stuff. It was like my favorite thing. This court near my house when I was a kid got chain link mesh and I just went crazy for it. I couldn't get enough of that sound of the ball ripping through that chain link mesh. Just little details like that. Reconnect to those, okay? For a moment, or for an hour, or whatever the case may be, there's no stretch of time you have to be there for. Just do what feels right, okay? Come back into that connection to the love of the purity of the game, just you alone on a basketball court. There's no rewards that come from that. Nobody's going to come give you a trophy for how well you shoot. Nobody's going to come by and give you a scholarship. None of that stuff matters. Just reconnect to the purity of the game. All those little details, all the fall back in love with the little things, as we say in the Deep Game Masterclass in Law Number 7. You can revisit that if you like. So that's what I'll say. True love means loving even when you don't like, okay? That is the key to true love, because there are going to be bumps in the road, many of them. If it's true love, like, that doesn't mean you're never going to fight. In fact, in a lot of cases, you'll fight even more. That was my experience, but it was so worth it. And I look back on that experience of falling in love for real as, I will say this up front, like, no experience in basketball ever compared to that. It was the single greatest experience of my life. We're not even together now. And I look back on that just with, like, in awe of, like, the magic of life granting me that blessing. You know, that's the kind of feeling it is. And I believe that you have that for the game of basketball. Maybe it's been covered up by all of this stuff that you've had to deal with, and I feel for you, because we all have to go through that stuff, but it's time to clean that off and reconnect to the purity of it, and continually reconnect to the purity of your relationship to the game itself. Again, the purity, not the social expectations or the rewards or any of that stuff, but the purity of the game itself. Okay. So try that out. Go to the court by yourself, empty gym, empty outdoor court, reconnect to the reason you started playing this game in the first place, and practice that unconditional love. Even when you don't like it, that love is always there. Okay. I hope that helped you out, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, it's Coach Taylor. I hope you enjoyed today's talk. And if you did, the best thing to do right now, while it's fresh in your mind, is go to deepgame.com or click the link in the description, and it'll take you to our free Deep Game Masterclass, where you'll actually learn the entire deep game of basketball with all 8 laws and all of the fundamentals that you need to know as a high-level basketball player. We've had players call this the best hour of basketball learning of their lives, and it's completely free. So go to deepgame.com right now, or just click the link in the description, and I can't wait to see you there.